Hey guys, Cassie here. Welcome back to my channel. And as promised yesterday, today we are going to be talking about all of the female-specific tropes you can hope to see in my new book, Broken Together. So if you missed yesterday's video, yesterday we talked about all the male tropes that people want to see more of that I have incorporated into my book. And today we're going to talk about the female tropes. I got all of these from the NaNoWriMo forums. Some people were talking about tropes that they'd like to see more of in regards to female characters. So I went through all of those tropes and picked out the ones that are represented in my book, and I'm going to tell you about them today. So trope number one is women who are allowed to like some feminine things and not others. I totally know what this person means, and I agree. I think sometimes characters can balance between extremes of like, you have to be some like sporty girl who likes manly things and can't like anything feminine, or you have to be like ultra feminine and you can't dislike some feminine things but like others. So I get what they mean. And I would say that the love interest Jenna in my book Broken Together fits into this category quite nicely. She's kind of like a rock star sort of gal, and she's pretty like chill and laid back and like low maintenance. And while some of these things might not be expressed on the page, I picture her as being someone who dresses kind of punk rock and likes black and, you know, things like that. But at the same time, she also likes some feminine things. She definitely gets dressed up sometimes. She likes to wear a lot of makeup, and, you know, again, those things aren't necessarily expressed on the page because this isn't written from her perspective. So she and Jacob don't often sit around talking about the fact that she likes makeup, but she wears makeup, so it's implied. So yeah, I would say that Jenna is the kind of person who likes some feminine things, but not others. And she's not like stereotype in either direction. Trope number two is strong female friendships. I definitely love those as well. There are two characters named Callie and Angela in my book that are best friends. They've known each other their whole lives. They've grown up together, and now they're college roommates, and I really love their relationship dynamic. There's a lot of like me and my best friend to me in their relationship. And yeah, I really like them, and as usual, as in any book, I love to see good female relationships, women supporting each other and being there for each other and not like being jealous or bickering or anything. There is a little bit of drama between two of the other female characters, but even that, like, I wanted it to make sure that it wasn't like they hate each other forever because of a boy or something. Like they work through things and they're able to be friends, you know, because sometimes drama does happen. That's realistic. Drama does happen sometimes. But what I wanted to showcase was that while that does happen sometimes, first of all, it's not all female relationships. And secondly, even when it does happen between two females, they can be grown-ups about it and like work through it and overcome it. They don't have to just like hate each other and be like jealous and annoyed by each other forever. Trope number three is women who are allowed to fall and have serious flaws. That is definitely portrayed in my character Jenna. She has a lot of flaws. I don't really want to get into too many of them because she is the love interest character, so not all of her character is really expressed right away. There is, you know, I let you know, as the author, I let you know the things I want you to know when I want you to know them, and I don't want you to know them all right now, but I will say she definitely has like a lot of struggles in life, and she doesn't always handle things very well. She's very good at running away from her feelings and kind of stuffing them down or pretending that they're not there. Whereas Jacob, the male character in the story, is very in touch with his emotions and very comfortable being like vulnerable, and he kind of brings that out in her. So yeah, they both have a lot of flaws. They're both broken together. See what I did there? The next one is women who like sex / are sexually active, and bonus points if their man is an adult about it. I definitely appreciate this as well. I think it can be really, it's just weird to me growing up in a society where so often, like, this is definitely a trend that's changing, but at least just not very long ago when I was growing up, like, it's kind of weirdly implied that women don't care about sex at all or don't have like any kind of sexual desires, which is just not true at all. And I think that that's a little weird and kind of a negative, like, it's damaging to people, because then when they grow up and they don't feel that way, they might feel that there's something wrong with them. In some cases, like, I come from a religious background, I'm a Christian, and so I have met a lot of young girls who, as Christians, want to be pure, like sexually, both with their bodies and with their minds. And like, it's hard when you grow up and all of the purity groups or seminars about sexual purity are all only geared towards men, always. It's like the boys, let's talk to the boys about purity, and the girls kind of get left behind, like, I have desires too, like, I like sex too, and like, I'm struggling with that. But it's almost like uncomfortable, not almost, it's very uncomfortable to say that, because it's like kind of even more taboo, especially in a religious environment. It's already like sometimes a little taboo for people to talk about sex at all, let alone for women to be like, hey, I lust, or I have problems with pornography, or whatever. And so I think in general, if fiction stories will start recognizing that women like sex sometimes too, instead of always portraying it as like, oh, the man's like begging their wife for sex and the woman's like, fine, I guess, you know. Like, if we stop doing that, I think that will help everybody because it's just a more realistic portrayal of the world, which I think is always a good thing. Oh, so yeah, my character Jenna is definitely sexually active, and more so than the male character Jacob, who's very inexperienced in that area. And again, the bonus points about the man handling that well and not being like jealous about it or like upset or something. I honestly, it didn't even cross my mind much that he would even think that way. Like, I didn't write him that way when, you know, in response to her kind of like promiscuity. He doesn't judge her or think that she's like bad or anything for enjoying sex. So I think that that is a good thing. This next one I really like. It is women who call men out on their BS. I freaking love that. That's like one of my favorite parts of Jacob and Jenna's relationship, like their friendship and the romantic tension between them, is that Jenna does kind of like, she lets him bring things up on his own terms, but at the same time, like, she won't just she's not the kind of person, oh my gosh, I need to learn how to talk. Jenna's not the kind of person who's gonna just allow her friend or her romantic interest to just be stupid or do something rude or whatever. Like, she's gonna call him out on that stuff. And there aren't necessarily a ton of examples of that in the story, because kind of one of the special things about their relationship is that she allows him to sort of just, I don't know how to describe it, I guess, without getting into too many spoilers, but she just allows him to to bring things up to her on his own time. But at the same time, she'll also call him out about it. If he's like, no, I'm totally fine, she'll be like, no, you're obviously not. You're upset about something, and you don't have to tell me what you're upset about, but don't tell me that you're fine, because you're not. Just say, I'm upset, but I don't want to talk about it. So that would be like an example of a moment where she's like letting him have his own pace and not like pushing him too much, but at the same time, not just letting him like say stupid stuff either. She's calling him out on his BS. So I really like that about their relationship. The next trope people wanted to see more of is women who cuss / are crass with their language. I'm, like I said, I am a Christian, so I don't like to put too much like vulgarity into my stories, but at the same time, I like know people in the world, and it is normal for people to swear. I swear sometimes, so I want to make an accurate representation of the real world, and Jenna's definitely a little bit crass and like kind of saucy in her humor, and has a little bit of a mouth on her. So that was fun to write because it's not really me as a character, and that's more fun to write sometimes, a character that's very different than who you are. So I enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoy it as well when you read the book. The next one someone said is uninhibited sass master. I'm pretty sure those are like the only 2 words they posted in this thread about tropes they want to see regarding women in fiction. Uninhibited sass master, and I was like, yes, that is Jenna to a T. She is an uninhibited sass master, and I adore it. This next person said they wanted to see more women who make realistic mistakes with real consequences and deal with them in mature ways. But then they also said that they also like to see women who make big mistakes with real lasting consequences and deal with them in immature ways, because both are realistic. And I totally agree with that. I love both of those as well. And I would say for Jenna, she kind of falls into both categories, actually. Like, there are some things that she's gone through in her past, which I'm not gonna bring up because you don't get to know that yet. But there are some things that she's gone through in her past, and in some ways she has run away from those things and kind of tried to mask her pain with other, you know, bad habits or vices, which is an immature way to handle it. But then in other ways, she's also like worked through some serious things and put in the hard work to deal with those consequences. And I guess that wouldn't really be, like, those weren't necessarily mistakes she made. They were like things that happened to her. But she also has made a fair amount of mistakes as well. I mentioned earlier 2 female characters kind of fighting about something, and that was because of a mistake that Jenna made. And I think, again, in some ways she handled that immaturely because she didn't really address it and kind of just like swept it under the rug. But then, you know, throughout the story, she kind of does handle it a little better by trying to kind of mend fences with the girl that she wronged. So yeah, I think both of those things are present to a degree in my book, Broken Together. This next one says women who are neither preoccupied with nor completely unaware of their physical appearance. And that is also, I think, a good representation of Jenna and something I really wanted to portray, because that's kind of how I am, I think, to a degree. Like, I like to look nice, and you know, when I make these videos, I do my hair and I do my makeup. I don't not care at all, but it's not really a big deal to me either. And I think it's kind of cool to see in fiction, like, women who obviously do care about their appearance, because, you know, the way you describe them can tell can tell you if they care about that or not. Like if she wears makeup, she gets put together in nice outfits, so it's obvious that she put some thought into what she's wearing, but it's not like she's like obsessed with how she looks all the time. And another trope that someone mentioned that kind of goes along with this one, which I love, is women who recognize that they're attractive and don't have crippling insecurity about it. That is a trope I'm getting really tired of, especially in my somewhat older age. The older I get, the more impatient I get with these teen stories where it's like they describe themselves and they're like, I have long blonde hair and blue eyes and long eyelashes and, you know, perfect figure and all this stuff. And then they're like, but I'm so ugly and I don't think anybody would ever be attracted to me. And that's just like, it's kind of annoying. Like, I know that attractive people have insecurities sometimes as well, and I think that's also a good thing to make sure to point out, that like just because you think someone's attractive doesn't mean that inside they're just like super confident. They might have insecurities too. But when they're so ridiculously unaware of how attractive they are, that's just like, come on. Like, it bugs me because I feel like the implication behind a lot of those authors writing that kind of character, their implication is that like, well, I don't want my character to seem arrogant or something. And it's like, okay, so the implication is that if I know that I'm an attractive person, that's bad somehow, like I'm arrogant. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I don't think I'm ugly. Like, I'll just say that. I'm not like obsessed with my looks or anything, but I'm not gonna go around being like, oh, I don't see why anyone would be attracted to me. Like, I think I'm a pretty attractive person, and I don't think that that's a bad thing to recognize. Personally, I think God created me. I didn't do anything to decide what I look like. So to me, objectively being like, yeah, I'm attractive, like that doesn't really mean anything. Like, I didn't even choose that. It really has nothing to do with me. So I don't really see how it's arrogant for people, or bad for people, to be aware that they're attractive and be confident in that and not be insecure about it. So this isn't really like something I address directly in the book, especially because we're not in the mind of the female character, we're in the mind of the male character. But like, it is something I wanted to intentionally kind of not address. Like, I didn't make some moment where the girl's like, oh, I don't know why you even like me, because I'm just plain or whatever. Like, and he has to be like, no, you're not, you're gorgeous. Like, I intentionally did not have anything like that in this book, because my female main character is attractive. She just is, and she would know that. Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm getting on a soapbox here now, but I agree with the person who wrote that trope, that they want to see more of that, because that bugs me as well. Because as a human being with eyes, I know how attractive I am compared to other people. I can see someone be like, okay, she's way prettier than me, and that person is not as pretty as me. And it doesn't have to be this weird, like, arrogant thing to recognize that. So there's that. Next on the list is women with short hair. And this is something I kind of did intentionally, because I was just like, you know, what's not represented enough? Like, I guess women with short hair, like love interests with a cute pixie cut. How often do you see that? Most of the time, characters have long hair. That's like the like beautiful woman stereotype, is long hair. So yeah, my love interest, Jenna, has a short bleach blonde pixie cut, and her whole aesthetic is basically based off of Valerie Curry, because adorable. Next on the list is women who are funny. I agree, we should have more funny women out there. I feel like it's kind of rare that I read a book where the woman is the one like being sassy with her funny, like, witty quips, and the guys maybe not as much. You know, actually, I think that that might be changing. I will say I have read a lot of books recently where the man is kind of the more reserved, like maybe not as funny one, and the woman is the like goofy one. And I really, really like that. So you will definitely see some of that in Broken Together for sure. And last but not least is intelligent, hardworking women. I would say that Jenna is pretty hardworking, but for me, this trope really comes across more in my character, Callie. She is definitely very smart. She's very organized. She loves to learn. She's kind of a nerd, like a kind of stereotypical nerdy character that like can't get enough of school. And that's a little bit of me in her, because I was totally that way as well. I really love learning, and I loved school, and you know, in classes people want to like chat or whatever. Like I was always like the one who was really focused on the actual learning. Not to say that everyone else wasn't, because some of them were, but you know, that's just my personality. I really like learning. I like organization and working hard and accomplishing things. And so that's kind of a little bit of my personality represented in Callie. She is very much that way as well. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If any of these tropes sound awesome to you and you want to check out my book Broken Together, it will be available on Saturday, December 7th. That's why we're making so many videos this week, every single day, to celebrate the release of this beautiful book, which will be more beautiful once this not for resale band is gone. So just ignore that part. But anyway, if you want to pick up a copy of Broken Together, you can pre-order it right now, but only for the ebooks. If you want a paperback, you're gonna have to wait until Saturday to order your copy. So I will link a bunch of information down below about that and about the live stream I'm gonna be having on Saturday to celebrate. So I hope you guys can join me for that. And until then, we have a few more days worth of videos, including tomorrow, where we're gonna be talking about all of the romance tropes that I've used in the book Broken Together. So come back tomorrow for that. That's it for today. I'll see you next time, and have a great day. Bye.